Good morning, everybody. It's Brett, your thanks for Carnivore. It's February the 7th, Friday on this year of our Lord 2020. This is today's Thankful Carnivore Report. I appreciate so much you taking time out of your day to listen to me ramble about things related to the carnivore way of eating that I find interesting. You can check this talk out. It'll be uploaded to my Instagram at thankful.carnivore, Facebook, YouTube, Thankful Carnivore, on Twitter where the meat eating savages just run wild. Stickman Bleeding, that's STICKMANBLEEDIN. Don't forget, you could get a 30-minute coaching session from meatrx.com for under 20 bucks. That's a 30-minute coaching session from meatrx.com for under 20 bucks. Check it out. I want to talk to everybody today. I've entitled today's discussion of as family fights. I to me, the carnivore community is just a big family. I mean, they're just it's a wonderful family, a family that I'm thrilled and honored to be a part of, to participate in, and I've developed some genuine friendships with some folks, some good human beings, and there's been some disagreements here and there along the way, and that's okay. It's okay if a family has disagreements and argues, and it's just healthy when there's an honest disagreement. The problem for humans is when they let their ego get into things and they start thinking about what is best for their desires, and what is it that they're trying to achieve to the exclusion of the benefit of the rest of the community. We don't want that. There's been periodic fights and arguments on social media in the carnivore community since I've been a part of it these 18 months plus, almost 19. And usually they're ego driven. Somebody decides that they know better than everybody else, or they try to create their own little club. Well, you're not in my carnivore club unless you do X, Y, and Z. There's been those kinds of fights. Then there was more recently, there's been the fight and arguing back and forth over grass-fed beef versus grain-finished beef and all that nonsense. Then there was the supplement, you have to eat nose to tail, you need to eat organ meats, argument and fight. And some people chose to exclude themselves from the community. Some folks in the community, in the family, just kind of like, yeah, I don't think I want to have anything more to do with certain individuals. And that's unfortunate, but it happens. It just happens. And I want to talk, if you feel like you've been excluded from the community, well, I think that you're still valuable to the community. I think that your story is just as valid today as it always was. And I want to encourage you to share that. And whatever disagreements you're having with whoever, why don't you take a breath? Take a breath and give yourself some space and time to reflect on things. Now, some people, when they feel like that they've been excluded from the community, they pout, they rage, they rant, they throw fits, they piss, they moan. I don't pay much attention to them, to be honest. But the folks who impress me are the ones who feel like they've been excluded. Maybe in some cases they have. I don't know. It's not my place to say. I don't speak for other people. I just speak for Brett, and only for Brett, period. My point is if you feel like you've been excluded, but rather than feel sorry for yourself, scream out against the injustice that may or may not be real, that you perceive to be real, you create your own little space in the family and get right back to work like nothing happened. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's so important that because there's no rules to any of this. There's no guidelines. There's not like the carnivore community rule book. Guidelines for the carnivore community. There's none of that. We're just people trying to do the best we can to help others learn that by changing the what you put into your mouth, you can experience healing and health that you just never imagined. And see, I think that's got to always be the focus. And there's going to be disagreements. People are not going to get along for whatever reasons. There's been a couple of individuals in the community. I'm not going to name them. I never have. I'm not into trashing human beings publicly. That's just not my deal. But I separated myself and they separated themselves. We separated from each other. We no longer communicate. We don't interact. And that's fine. They're doing the work that they believe they need to do. And from where I sit, it looks like they're doing a fine job. And I'm doing the work that I need to do. My work is to share my story and let people know you're not broken. You can heal your pain. You can end your suffering just by changing what you put into your mouth. For me, I eat meat and drink water. So I just want everybody to understand there's going to be disagreements. But I think it's imperative. One of the reasons that I love hanging with carnivores, and I'm blessed to get to every day on meatrx.com and across other social media platforms, is everybody's just so kind and open and friendly. So when these arguments and fights happen in the family, it's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the carnivore community unless people foolishly decide to go scorched earth and just be destructive. And most carnivores aren't that self-centered in my experience. That requires some seriously self-centered, selfish behavior. And I just don't see that in the carnivore community. Even with the people I disagree with, which are just two. Two people in the whole three. I take that back. Three in the whole community I've ever disagreed with. Never going to say who they are publicly. Don't ask. You'll just annoy me and I'll block you. So don't ask. My point is, good can come. Growth comes from conflict for many people, for many families. A tragedy or something tragic brings a family together. Sometimes when somebody, there's a bad egg in the family or a family member is acting out, they need to be excluded from the main group of the family so that they can reflect, develop, and grow some better skills, perhaps. Mature. Maybe they just need some space. Don't let your ego destroy the good. That's my message to everybody in the carnivore community this day. Take it for what it's worth. I'm nobody special. I'm just a guy who's blessed to have learned about eating meat, drinking water. I genuinely love being a part of this community. I recognize there's going to be disagreements. I also recognize that what we're doing is so important. It's more important than any individual. It's more important than me. It's more important than any one person's desire for advancement or notoriety or money. Things I'm not against. But we need to keep things in perspective. Because the important thing is letting the world know, like Joe Rogan is, that hey, the carnivore way of eating is a viable, healthy alternative. And something that people who've been suffering chronic illnesses, such as I did and so many of you have, it's a way to feel healthy. It's a way to create your own health. And that's what the focus of the carnivore family has been on. I know it's going to stay there. There's going to be minor disruptions along the way, bumps in the road. But as long as we keep the ultimate goals of this movement, this community in the front, and I'm not talking about Brett's perspective. I mean, because it's not just one thing. The ultimate goal is to create health for others. What a beautiful thing. Listen, do the things you need to do to take care of you. If you're a member of the carnivore family, you already know what you need to do. Take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic weekend. I got to work Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday. I appreciate your comments that y'all been leaving so very much. They're very encouraging, very inspiring, and in many cases, very educational. I also want to mention real quick, I don't have a link for it yet. Ivor Cummins released a short little preview on Twitter, the Fat Emperor on Twitter, the interview he did with me last year regarding my experience. I've been waiting, really looking forward to this because we had such a wonderful discussion. And he released a little cutout of it on Twitter. The whole video will be released later today. So please check that out. The Fat Emperor on Twitter and on YouTube. Do the things you need to do to take care of you. Eat your meat, drink your water, my friends. And remember, you've got something to be thankful for. Take care.